Yes, gang, this is the side of the Cackles Kamala campaign the lying legacy media refuses to show you. But I assure you it's just another typical day in leftist loony land with pro-Palestinian progressives storming a Cackles Kamala event. And frankly, it all goes downhill from there. We're going to see how the blitzkrieg of deceit from the legacy media that they've been propagating 24/7 these last 3.5 weeks has been nothing less than an abject failure. It's amounted to little more than a dud, gang. Trump is surging past the polling. We got a number of election indicators, a number of election predictors where Trump is absolutely crushing it. We got the stats, and you're going to be absolutely pumped after you hear this. Gang, as you know, we look out for each other on this channel. Your safety and your security are our #1 priority. So if you haven't secured the deed to your home as of yet, you need to click on that link below right now and protect yourself and your loved ones. I was absolutely shocked when I found out how easy it is to access the deed to my house, and not just access it, but actually change it. The deed to your home is the only document that proves you own it. But the problem is that all our deeds are now online, and criminals are free to find your deed, forge your signature, refile as the new homeowner, take out tons of loans using your home's equity, and then they stick you with all the debt. But that's where our good friends over at Home Title Lock come in. Gang, they're simply amazing. Home Title Lock gives you the peace of mind that the deed to your home is absolutely and completely protected 24/7. Click on that link below right now. Use promo code TurleyTalks. And all you got to do is enter your address for your no-obligation home title scan to see if you've already been a victim of deed theft. It's a $100 value, absolutely totally free with my promo code TurleyTalks. Gang, don't wait for the worst to happen only to regret you didn't do something about it when you could have. Do what I've done. Do what countless patriots have done. Click on that link below right now and secure your home today. I believe it was Winston Churchill who once said, "Nothing in life is so exhilarating as to be shot at without result." Nothing in life is so exhilarating as to be shot at without result. And I think that is precisely what we're seeing play out in the current state of the race. No, not just J13. God bless. Thank God for his protection over Donald Trump that day. It's not just J13. It's what we have seen ever since the implosion of the Biden regime and the fabricated rise of Kamala. What we've witnessed over the last 3 weeks or so is really nothing less than a coordinated coup attempt by the Democrat establishment media. That's a nice little, I think that I'm going to coin that term. Maybe it's already out there. The Democrat establishment media. They've been successful in their first offensive, which was getting rid of Biden. That was, say, the sub-coup. It was relatively easy. I mean, he being nothing more than a shell of a man, protected only by his Lady Macbeth wife and his crackhead son. All the while, members of his staff, like the diversity hire White House spokesperson, they're all just playing around the White House, giving off end of empire vibes. Dancing while their Titanic is sinking. That part of the coup was easy. The Democrat establishment media, which is a coalition, a partnership between Democrat operatives and legacy media outlets, the Democrat establishment media then turned to phase 2 of their coup, and that was to convince you through a 24/7 all-out propaganda blitz that the single most despised, unpopular vice president is actually the second coming. She, as it turns out, as Time magazine claimed, she was made for this moment. Literally. She was made. She was fabricated for this moment. And so for the last 3 weeks, we've seen nothing less than a total blitzkrieg offensive by the Democrat establishment media, literally fawning over a woman who they secretly, behind the scenes, privately, I should say, behind the scenes, they despise. They can't stand Kamala Harris, but they'll do it to stay in power. They are literally fake fawning over a woman who has almost a hard enough time putting two coherent sentences together as her boss. And as part of that propaganda offensive, that blitzkrieg, they've been splashing blatantly misleading at best, blatantly fraudulent at worst polls that are deliberately trying to convince the masses that Kamala has become the single most popular human being on the planet. And yet, after all of that, nonstop, 24/7 propaganda, after all that fabricated fanfare, week after week after week, all the polls showing Kamala surging to new polling heights never seen before. After all of that, as it turns out, and as the most recent polling is showing, it was all, in the end, one big dud. Rasmussen, Trump, 49, Harris, 45. The latest from Democracy Institute. Trump, 48. Harris, 44. This is my favorite. RMG polling with leaners. RMG polling with leaners. It's Trump. Leaners are those who say, oh, I haven't decided. And you say, look, if you had to make a choice now, who would you make? Who would you choose? All right, so that's leaners. It's Trump 49, Harris 47. And that's huge because RMG, Rich Barris just tweeted this out today. RMG, just days ago, was cited repeatedly by Democrats and the media to justify that there was a Harris surge happening. I kid you not. This same polling outlet that just dropped this poll was the one that the Harris campaign was using to tell everyone that she was surging past Trump into the lead. Now, they've got Trump in the lead. And then, of course, Fox. Fox's polling, which notoriously leans left, nevertheless, now has Trump in the lead 50-49. But we can actually look at some of the internals of the Fox poll to find out that something's not quite right there. Because take a look at Trump's numbers with independents, according to Fox. Look at that. He leads independents. He leads cackles with independents by 8. How does Trump lead among virtually all Democrats and then independents by 8, but he's only up by 1? And it gets even better. According to Fox, he's posting 26% support among black voters. It's the highest he's ever had. 26%. Nearly 1 in 3 blacks are supporting Trump, according to Fox. It's unprecedented for any Republican candidate in the modern political era. And he's getting the majority Latino vote. 52%. And yet, after they go through their weighting shenanigans, the Fox poll is only giving Trump a 1-point national lead. If you believe that, after stats like that, after Trump 26% black vote, 52% Latino vote, 8 points ahead among independents. If you believe that, I got some oceanfront property in Arkansas I want to sell you. But it matters a little because according to Fox, this time in 2020, Biden was up 8 over Trump. Say that again. This time in 2020, Biden was up 8, nearly 10 points over Trump. And in 2016, Crooked Hillary was up 7 over Trump. Now, today, Trump's leading. I reiterate, there is nothing more exhilarating than to be shot at without result. Now, I think the key here to understand and make sense of what all of this means, this cackles offensive failure by the lamestream media, this dud in their deliberate attempt at election interference on the part of the Democrat national media and fabricating all of this astroturfed excitement surrounding the single most unpopular vice president in the history of American polling. The key to understanding what's happening and why I think they are growing increasingly frustrated is that Trump amassed such a sizable lead over Biden over the past several months. A lead that surged even more with the fallout from the debate disaster, really what was one of the worst political disasters in modern politics. I mean, think about it. Biden's 50-year political career literally imploded right before our very eyes that night. We predicted that, by the way. Don't forget, this channel predicted that. We predicted that implosion. I've always said Biden's Achilles heel is his senility. Everything else can be reversed. His policies at the border could be reversed. The economy could be reversed, or disastrous foreign policy could be reversed. Violent crime epidemic could be reversed. Everything could be reversed except Biden's senility. That was the one thing that could not change. It could not possibly be reversed, and that's why it was his Achilles heel. And it was that which would ultimately lead to his inevitable demise. And by the way, the Achilles heel explains precisely why Kamala is doing everything she can to do what? What is Kamala doing right now? All of that, what I just said, explains precisely Kamala's playbook in terms of her new policies. What is she saying she's going to do? She's going to what? She's going to reverse the Biden administration's policies. Or at least she's trying to convince you that she's going to do that. That she's going to reverse the policies at the border. She's going to implement border security now. That's in her commercials here, all the commercials in the Pennsylvania area. I'm in the Philly area. And I mean, all the commercials. Kamala Harris will finally close the border. I kid you. It's this. I'm literally sitting there in front of the TV going, lock me up. I've got to be the one that's insane. The woman who single-handedly was responsible for the disaster at the southern border. Have you ever visited the southern border? No, I haven't, but I haven't visited Europe either. What are you trying to tell me? That woman is now trying to position herself as a border security hawk. Everything else can be reversed, right? But all that's doing, ironically, sorry, I'm a little bit on a tangent here, but I think this is important. All that Kamala's copycatting is actually doing, ironically, is further vindicating Trump. It's validating Trump. Because why go with the imitation? Why not just go with the real thing? Why go with something that's artificial? Remember Rush Limbaugh? The great Rush Limbaugh always used to say that about these measly Republicans who wanted to parrot Democrat policies. Remember that? Right? These pathetic, wishy-washy, middle of the road, milquetoast Republicans always wanted to sound Democrat light. Democrat light. And Rush would tell them that's a losing strategy because all that does is validate the very party you're trying to invalidate. All that does is vindicate the party you're trying to defeat. Why go with an imitation when you can go with the real thing? So if you think you need to secure the border, why not bring back the guy who was building the wall? Or if you want economic prosperity, why not bring back the guy that gave us the single biggest economic boom we had ever seen, lowering manufacturing and employment to its lowest levels in history, which is pretty good for Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania. You want to fight violent crime? Why not go with the law and order candidate? Why go with the candidate that was raising money to bail out Antifa folk from prison? I mean, in the end, by stealing his platform, all Cackles does is she only further bolsters and validates his platform. But the key here is that Trump amassed a big enough lead over Biden that he's effectively absorbing this onslaught of propaganda that's deliberately tried to deceive you into believing that 10 to 15% of the voting population that was going with Trump until Biden dropped out has now suddenly swung over and is going with Kamala. And more people are seeing that that's all a lie. That was just concocted by response bias polls that no honest pollster would ever release and no honest news outlet would ever report. But what we're finding is that Trump's lead that he's amassed over the course of the last year does indeed appear to be, frankly, rock solid.